Good evening and welcome to the Fredonia Central School District Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. We begin every meeting with a pledge to the flag. So if everyone would join me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. We have a consent agenda that we need an approval on. The adoption of the consent agenda upon a motion and a second plus an affirmative vote by members present approves each and every item so designated. However, prior to the adoption of the consent agenda, any board member may remove any item from the consent agenda. This item will then come up for discussion as part of the regular agenda. So if I could get a motion to bring the consent agenda to the floor. If anyone would like something pulled out, we can do that after the motion. So before, excuse me, you know I talk a lot.
Drop my name down.
You know I talk a lot. We have an addendum item here, two of them actually, that I'm just requesting not be part of consent. And it's because they're addendum items, not because there's anything else. But we're going to pull these out and bring those up during the regular meeting. So with that, Ms. Hahn, thank you. And a second.
Second.
Ms. Powell-Fordman. Is there anything anyone else would like pulled out for the regular meeting? No? Okay. With that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. So the board has reserved this time to hear comments from the audience. Those wishing to address the board are asked to stand, give their name and address, and limit their comments to 5 minutes or less per individual or group. Audience members seeking a response should complete a board correspondence sheet and return it to our district clerk, Christine Slagle. Is there anyone who would like to address the board tonight? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Greeno. I live at 7849 Plank Road, Cherry Creek, and I am the Fredonia Teachers Association president. The FTA is pleased and excited to be embarking on a new school year. And the opening days were successful, which speaks volumes about the summer preparation by your faculty and staff. The hallways are gleaming, the grounds are freshly mowed, the classrooms are clean and have new technology installed. Open house packets and rosters were ready to go on August 31st. The hard work of your maintenance, grounds, custodial, secretarial, cafeteria, print shop, admin, and technology staff have made sure that the first days feel seamless and welcoming. We really enjoyed kicking off the in-service day with such a great turnout at our luncheon. It was a beautiful day to eat outside and enjoy time among colleagues. The FTA is represented here tonight because our contract expired at the end of June. We acknowledge the hard work that has been done by the teams on both sides to this point, and that because of that hard work and those difficult conversations, the successor agreement is nearly ready for ratification. I believe that many of the conversations during negotiations were illuminating for us and the district, and after our negotiations come to a close, we look forward to continued work problem solving together. With hope and integrity, the Fredonia Teachers Association remains dedicated to promoting the best interests of children in the community, the general welfare of its members, and the interests of public education within the community. We know we are, as our shirts say, better together. We look forward to reaching an agreement very soon and hope to witness ratification at your next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Greeno.
Hey, thank you for being here tonight, everybody. We typically don't open up this part of the meeting to a whole lot of dialogue, but since you are here and I echo many of the things that Michelle said, I just wanted to share a few thoughts. Absolutely, a very smooth, positive opening, and I think it is attributed to really us approaching this as a team effort. All the association members, those not attached to associations, chipping in to do their part to get the year off to a great start. And I think that has been accomplished. And thanks to everybody who is here, who has been a big part of that. I think this carries over to negotiations too. The conversations have been respectful, polite, cordial, even in those difficult moments. And I think part of any negotiation is you have different perspectives and you see things differently, and you negotiate and get to a place where each side is feeling good about where we landed, and each side was willing to be flexible, or as flexible as they thought they could be in those discussions. And I believe that has happened. I'd like to thank, as we went into a little bit smaller group for discussions between Michelle Greenow, Amy Lauer, John Forbes, and myself, that we were just able to maintain that positivity and always think that the end goal here is to reach an agreement that we could both feel good about, and that would set the stage for a positive remainder of this school year, as well as the terms of the agreement that looks like it'll be for 3 years. So we're reflective in this process on our side. We've certainly learned some things along the way and things we can do better down the road. And we'll be implementing those things and adjusting our approach and our mindset as we get into this and other negotiations down the road. I absolutely understand sometimes things don't move as quickly as we would like, but sometimes that is part of the process. And again, I echo what Michelle said. I'm glad that we're at a point where, in my mind, we have a verbal agreement, a conceptual agreement on the table. We are looking at some of the contractual language, not so much in terms of what we negotiated, but just some of the fine-tuning of the language that would not change the spirit or the details of what we have agreed to at this point. And that, again, takes a little bit of extra time to make sure that language is correct and appropriate and doesn't open the door to confusion or a variety of interpretations down the road. So we appreciate everybody being here, and we appreciate being at the end of this process. And yes, the thought in a conversation with Michelle today is that the FTA would ratify sometime prior to our next meeting on the 27th, and the board would be prepared for the same at that meeting. So that's all I wanted to share with the group. I know that everyone's busy, and we appreciate you, and you're more than willing to stay until the end of the meeting if you would like. However, if there are members here that just wanted to really support Michelle and her message and be part of the camaraderie amongst the FTA tonight, feel free to step out at any moment, although we do have a couple presentations coming up real quickly. Jen Sabilo is going to share some information about summer programming at the elementary school, and Amy and I are going to talk a little Dsip and Sessom. So you're welcome to hang around for any and all of that, but I don't want people to feel obligated. Thanks again.
So with that, is there anyone else who would like to speak to the board tonight? No? Okay. So with that, we'll go right into our special presentations. And Jennifer Sabilo, first grade teacher and administrative intern, talking about our summer program.
I'll come up here so you can all hear me. And I have it on my phone too, because even with glasses I can't see all that well. My name's Jenny Sabilo. This is my 5th year at Fredonia Elementary, formerly in special ed department, now in gen ed teaching first grade. And this summer and this fall I've had the privilege to work as an administrative intern for some of our administrators at the building level and the district level. So tonight I just wanted to share a few tidbits from our summer school as we kind of restructured the summer school program for the elementary building. So typically we did grades 1, 2, 3, and 4 at a grade level classroom. That's how the students were kind of grouped. This year we did grades 1, 2, and 3 based on skill need, and then grade 4 remained as a grade level cohort to assist with their transition into middle school. So these groupings and the class placements were based on teacher feedback throughout the school year previously, their Lexile levels, their FastBridge, All the iReady assessments, the RTI, special ed, ENL, all of those additional services that students receive. So 3 different things that we tried this summer. The first was skill-based groups. So again, the students were based on their unique needs, not only of their ability level, but different content that they needed additional support with. We tried rotation, so every day each group made it to 3 different rotations. The benefits of this were that it increased the student engagement and the teacher engagement as well. The third was that the students all had exploration time, which was either a STEM or a STEAM-based project that focused with their homeroom teacher. Some of the examples that you'll see pictures of in here, some planted seeds, some did paper mache globes, some had zoorific presentations. So it really gave the students the time to explore other content areas instead of just skill and drill. So some of the data, because everybody loves numbers, 74% of our students maintained or improved their oral reading fluency skills, which was our big target for summer school instruction, is that students maintain and not regress. Of course, we all love improvement, so that would be kudos to improving as well, but 74% of students, that's pretty significant to have all of those students maintain those skills. Our next assessment that we used was the iReady for reading, and we measured the Lexile. So instead of measuring just from the end of the year until the end of summer growth, what we did is we looked at the students' growth over the school year and extended it into summer. So 76% of the students who extended into the summer were able to make 80% of growth. Just some attendance data for you to reference. Summer of 2022 was slightly different because we started a week after instead of the week of the 4th of July, so it only added 1 instructional day. However, having the students there for that additional day did increase the attendance rate, average by 80%. Some of our staff feedback. So our elementary teachers, Chris Sabalski, Lisa Young, Mary Benchley, Emily Thie, Rachel Kibler, Bonnie Burnett, and Susan Wells. As you can see in that picture, there's Susan's 4th grade cohort with their plate tectonics and their consonants. Some of the feedback that they had shared with that they would be interested to see, I'm going to pull it up on my phone because I can't read that far. They were curious in the math data. So this year we have iReady Math at the elementary level as well as the Envisions program. So hopefully we can use some of those assessment tools during next summer to provide us some of that math data. They would like to see more than 1 day for the Lexile assessment at the end of summer. Sometimes that assessment can be a little lengthy for our younger students, so they might need additional time to produce a more accurate reflection. A third piece of feedback was that the teachers really appreciated being able to work with grades 1, 2, and 3. They may have been blended groups instead of just their typical, I teach 2nd grade, summer, spring, winter, fall. So they really liked having that different time. During the 4 weeks of summer school, the ELL program, they were able to push in instead of pulling out all of the time, and they really felt like it was more inclusive. And the last thing was from our 4th grade cohort, Susan Wells. She had said, you know, having these 4th grade students in a separate group really helped with their social emotional learning, their maturity, and their academics when they transition into the middle school. She felt like it really kind of ended the year nicely for them as they prepared to go up to middle school. So that is everything. We really enjoyed summer school, and I hope that this productively yields some results for next summer.
So any questions from the board?
So you enjoyed summer school.
Very much, very
And the
much.
students appear to have.
Yes, there were a lot of smiling faces, so I'll take that as a yes.
Yeah. So continuing next year, are you hoping for an increased attendance?
I believe so. It's more of a summer camp mentality versus a summer school, which doesn't always generate the most
Yeah.
positive response, yes.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much for your presentation. Thanks for helping our students. Okay. Next, we have a presentation on our district comprehensive improvement plan and our, the SSIP, school comprehensive improvement plan.
Yep. If it's okay with you, Amy, I'm going to do a little intro, and then I'm going to kick it over to you, and then we can kind of take turns sharing some information here. So Dsip, SSIP, again, District Comprehensive Improvement Plan and School Comprehensive Educational Plan. We have been engaged in this process for a few years now, and this year we took a couple different thoughts maybe that we haven't fully maybe articulated in our conversation before, because Amy and I thought about, so how can we best facilitate this process? And how do we involve people in such a way that this is not about administration or principals or district office setting an agenda and then trying to sell it to the people that we work with. This was really an organic process of bringing people together and thinking about what are those priorities for our schools. And we did think it would be nice if those were in common across the district. And then what are the action steps that would move us forward and demonstrate progress in those areas. And we kind of also got in this mindset of simplify. Let's not take on more than we can feasibly do within a given school year. Let's not let the abundance of ideas that comes forward, which is a great thing during any brainstorming session like this, especially when you have a fairly big group together, let's not let that have us have 19 action steps at each building for each priority. And I think we also got back to, what are the priorities that will really make a difference for our students? And we'll talk about it in more detail, but I just want to mention it right now. This idea of providing basic needs for our students, building relationships, social emotional learning, and targeted instruction. And each building has taken it upon themselves as their own entity with leadership from their principals and assistant principals, but also just as a group of people working together from the same building to put action steps in place to make sure that we make some progress in that area. And I was really happy with just the overall energy that this group, either the Dsip or the SSIP, brought to the table, and the way we were able to work through all this in a very positive way and get to a result I think we're all proud of, and one that I think we will be able to demonstrate at the end of the year that we've made progress in these areas. Amy has been involved in this over the last few years as well. I absolutely appreciate her guidance, and at times her helping me understand some of the process that I was not fully aware of. And her being involved in this since it first came to the district, and it was something we needed to process in terms of what we do each year. So having said that, if you wanted to get us going, and we can just kind of share.
Sure. So you can see why do we need a Dsip and an SSIP. I feel like it's a broken record because we do this every year. Believe it or not, these are based on state test scores from 2019, which is prior to COVID, so it really seems surreal that we're talking about this. But it's a 3-year plan, so supposedly this is our last year as a targeted district that needs a Dsip and an SSIP, but that will be up to state ed to decide. So we can go to the next slide, Christine. So we had a team that created these plans, as Brad mentioned. Administrators, teachers, staff, and parents. We put them together this summer. Those people are all listed there, and they were very important members of this, not because we just got together and spoke, but they also followed up and met at the building level and created the action plans that Brad talked about that made sense to each of the buildings at their level. And then we were able to follow that up with the SSIP with Paula. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So the SSIP is actually the building level plan that's done at the middle school. And the Dsip is a district level plan that is supposed to be based upon what we determine as a district at the building level, and then how can we branch out at the district level. So the SSIP, and what you'll notice here is something that we did a little differently this year than we've done in the past, is the Dsip met together, as Brad mentioned, the 4 priorities, and as we came together as an SSIP, we decided, why would we choose different priorities and commitments? Because these are really important for us as a district. So we chose the same commitments, and that was mindfully, because we didn't want to, as Brad said, kind of go all over the place. We really wanted to be focused on what we were concentrating on, especially this school year. So the 4 building level commitments are there: recognize and support the basic needs of our students and adults to provide a foundation for learning. We can see that every single day, especially starting this school year. Implement procedures, protocols, and strategies that are culturally responsive to promote positive working relationships, a feeling of connection, and a sense of community among all students and adults within our district. Develop social and emotional learning skills that result in self-awareness, self-management, and the capability to focus on our academic and achievement goals. And then lastly, but certainly not least, providing purposeful, consistent, innovative educational experiences that address learning growth through targeted instruction and intervention. And again, I only read that to you to sort of emphasize to you the importance that we put on some of those specific words, such as self-awareness, such as innovative, because those are things that we're really trying to do across the district. So as part of the Dsip, it is also mandated through state ed that we choose one evidence-based intervention to help guide us in these practices. And what we chose this year was the evidence-based intervention of WIN. You've heard Dr. Wright speak about that, and that was some of the summer work on what I need through the middle school literacy. And that's flexible scheduling and whatnot. And I know you've heard about that before, so I'm going into it into more detail, but that was the evidence-based intervention that was chosen to do primarily at the middle school. Additional interventions that were chosen for the Dsip, and again, this is mostly in the middle school. Check and Connect will continue, which is a mentoring program between students and adults. Continuation of PBIS and the positive behavior support systems. Restorative circles, and the middle school was able to have a training done this summer by the Erie County Justice Center on restorative circles. Communication of parents, really making that a priority, continuing because they've done a great job in the last couple of years doing that. And then continuing the EDGE, which is the clothing, hygiene facility. It's not really a store, but it's a place where kids can come and get what they need for clothing or for hygiene. Additional strategies will be professional development that will be happening during faculty team meetings, especially around relationship building, how to build those relationships, and given ideas, strategies that really work that we've seen happen. How do we use Facebook, Instagram, Twitter with families so they know more about what's happening to improve that communication. Grow the innovation classrooms and begin to discuss STEAM and STEM and how can that be innovated, not just there, but in all the content areas. And I'm pretty excited about some of the things that are coming that we've been able to look at for that. Mrs. Troutman also has Principals Council, where she gets feedback from the students that come to her and talk with her about things that they would like to see improved, things that they like that they're doing. We also did some training in June, I want to say, on the Student Ambassador Program, where students are really trained in anti-bullying. So it comes from them. They know what to do to help promote anti-bullying and how to support each other with that. And part of this is also now training staff in supporting those students and doing that, the Student Ambassador Program. So each of those 4 commitments have a specific action plans. They have goals, they have timelines, they have resources, they have money allotted to those actual action steps. And we'll have data collection throughout the year with a final summary at the end of the year, just to ensure that the plan is implemented and done with fidelity.
I'll jump in, Amy. Again, back to the Dsip. Again, the priorities remain consistent, which I think is a nice step to keep us all together and focused this year. And there's a few examples here of the strategies that we're talking about. Increased participation in the Feed More backpack program. And again, this idea of meeting our students' basic needs. If students are hungry, they tend not to focus. If they're not getting food at home, that's a hardship on them. So we're really trying to take some steps to address those basic needs the best we can as a school district. We're also looking to build on the work that was done last year and increase awareness and participation in the Parents as Teachers programs. And again, really making connections at home, thinking about what families, parents, and how school districts can partner together to again meet family needs and address challenges that they might have. Also thinking about this idea of communication and connection and really looking to capitalize on social media. We've made some progress on that at district office over the past year, but expanding that into the middle school and really highlighting the good work that's done at the middle school and those things that make our middle school a special place to be in a very positive place. We are also looking at piloting a student and staff lunch group. Again, that would increase connection between our faculty and staff and allow people to just spend some time together, get to know each other in a slightly different light, share maybe some later conversation, and really see each other beyond our roles as teachers or administrators, as aides, or seeing students beyond their academic role that they play within our school. Also looking at what we're calling the Fredonia 5 at the high school, and this is something that's been implemented to guarantee some conversation, some dialogue, some interaction between our teachers and our students, or anyone else who's attached to our classroom. That is not solely academic based and isn't about kind of the business of the day, but again, broadening those relationships and deepening those connections between adults and students. We're also looking at, I think, technically bringing back the Taste of Fredonia Schools Festival, and really thinking about how we can celebrate some of the diversity in our community, how can we bring people together to recognize the ways that we are different while celebrating the things that we have in common. And lastly, at least on this slide, the second step curriculum, which we've talked about before, again, is social emotional learning curriculum, where there's lessons packaged around different social emotional topics that can be delivered fairly easily to students in our classrooms, and that's at the UPK 4 level. On the next slide, it gets back to this idea of MTSS, or multi-tiered interventions or supports for students, and really tapping into the time that we set aside during the day for data team meetings, and SAT meetings. Again, those student support teams, and really thinking about how is it that we can target instruction, how can we best meet the needs of our students in the moment. A couple other things here real quick. Creating a 9th grade teacher committee to focus on consistent literacy instruction, particularly at grade 9. We know that freshman year is a transition for students and an important year for your high school career. So really bringing those teachers together to focus on how we can best serve our freshmen. The UPK teachers piloting creative curriculum to target the UPK standards, and Amy, maybe you could expand on that a little bit more.
So we always talk about K through 12, but UPK is a unique animal. We know it really needs to be play-based and developmentally appropriate, and it's not something that we sit at desks and really work at workbooks. So the creative curriculum really brings that to the table, that it builds in the UPK standards through play. So it allows the teachers to use mindful minutes, to build in block play, different ways that the kids can learn mainly social emotional skills, as well as some early literacy and early numeracy skills to the table. But it's really fun, it's engaging, and there's an online source, and we were able to get all of that donated. So we were super excited about that, but we were really able to target the UPK standards in a way that in the past our teachers really had to make up everything from scratch. They just created it, which they were wonderful and it was great, but it's nice now to have something to go by and use off of as well. So.
Yep. And as Dr. Wright presented recently, the implementation of our Envision Math program, and we've been very excited and thank our teachers who have really taken this on and moved quickly into an implementation mode, and those resources are starting to be used in our classrooms, so we are definitely excited about that. So, at the end of the day, again, this is about setting priorities and then creating action steps to make progress in those areas. In terms of communication, obviously we're sharing this information here tonight Our plan will ultimately be posted on our website after approval here this evening. And this is a reoccurring conversation in our district, and I would like to just, recognize that it is part of the Dsip and SSUP, but really these are our building goals. These are the things that we're working on this year, regardless of, the mandate about what we need to do with these plans. We would set goals regardless of whether that needed to be done through a process like this. So in my mind, this is just what we're doing, what we're focusing on, and we're excited about the year ahead and the developments that we'll make in these areas. So, anything else, Amy?
No, I just want to thank Dr. Zeliak because this was something that we sort of, was kind of nebulous the last couple of years, and he's really taken this on, and he did some great work this summer with the committees and made it a priority, and also ensured that these are going to be our district goals. It's not something that's just sort of out there, a plan that we wrote. So I appreciate that, and I know as administration, we appreciated the time that you took with us this summer and really focused this. Thank you.
Any questions, comments from the board?
I have a couple of questions and a comment. So you said it's a 3-year plan. So then do you get out?
Not always.
Is it complete based on test scores? Is that how they?
That's how they've done it in the past, but they really have shifted it from the first year in 2019. Paul and I went to Albany and spent 2 days very intently, mainly talking about state test scores and how to improve that, where the shift it's really shifted since COVID. So it's more culturally based, social emotional learning based. So I'm not convinced that that will be what they'll use to determine if we continue or not. I don't know what they'll use, but they've really shifted the focus.
Okay, because that was my comment, was that it's interesting that you have this because of the test scores, but all of the action plans are social emotional relationship, basic needs being met.
Which is where they focused us and targeted the different school districts to go towards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Great.
this.
Yeah.
So, I have very similar questions. To that, are you expecting that at some point before our review comes up that you will get some criteria, or that you'll have to submit some data or some evidence, or,
I want to say, Brad, it was late. It was like May or June that we even heard about what was required for this year's Dsip and SSUP planning. So hopefully we will. But again, they really focused on how learning happens, cultural diversity, social emotional learning. So, and this year was more like that even than last year. Last year was a big shift to that. Really didn't require a whole lot of data that they had in the past as far as student achievement data.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some of that is because of COVID and the tests not happening. So that blew out their platform. If their own plan required test scores and then they said there's no test that has to be administered because of COVID, well, now they didn't have a metric. So originally it was a freeze. It was just everybody who was on a plan of any kind is frozen in that, suspended state until this pandemic passed. And then the following year, they saw that all schools weren't able to open. Therefore, they can't equitably expect those same metrics. So now they had to come up, and that's when the late shift happened to something else. But they haven't determined the measurability of that shift. So it's kind of one of those work in progress. So we, through their leadership, shifted to the plan that we have. And it also comes with a sense of if you're meeting those social emotional needs, then students are better able to be their best selves with which to be a student academically. So it's really was the shift was because of the pandemic. If the pandemic hadn't happened, I doubt there would have been any kind of a shift, because the test scores just aggregated to very specific subgroups, and there's this crazy mathematical formula for then how they determine the weightedness of each of those subgroups, and that's how it's determined whether or not you are a school in need of improvement. And anytime you have one of your schools, you automatically are a district in need. So.
Yes, Ms. Allen.
I just wanted to jump off on what Margie was saying. Having participated on the committee 2 summers, I was very happy with the focus on social emotional learning because of what Margie said, and we tried to be very responsive to evaluations that the students had given. They were interviewed, and there was a lot of feedback that they were craving a connection, a more personal connection with their teachers, a deeper connection. And so we tried to address that. And also, we were trying to be mindful that we didn't want to put more things on the plates of teachers who already have so much to do. And so we were hoping that instead of that, we would be doing the opposite, that some of this would result in better behavior by the kids, like the Fredonia 5, taking that time can just ultimately result in the kids maybe being more open to learning, and that hopefully we'll see results, and that the teachers will be pleased with this whole initiative.
Yes.
I had another question about the evidence-based intervention. So we spent some time talking about what WIN is. We did not have a real plan on how it would be rolled out, if it would be piloted. So if this is kind of a major component, have we settled on an approach for that? And do we have a timeline for that to be implemented?
So I'm like, I can't feel like I want to jump in on anything. So what we had shared was that this is really about right now the architecture of it, and it's something that we know we have to build from the ground up, and so that's where the scheduling piece comes from with the authenticity. So the goal is to pilot this with just the 7th or 8th grade, 7th grade, but not until January, not until we have those components in place, and so that we can do this mindfully, thoughtfully going forward. And then we're dabbling and looking at, you know, how could this be in a 9th grade model? How could this be, we talked about 3rd grade at the time, because we talked really about where is the need, the biggest need, and the biggest bang for our buck with doing this. So we're starting with a small group, not even the entirety of the grade level, but rather this smallest group to kind of get our feet wet with it, see how it's going, as far as, is it really meeting what they need? Is it really yielding the results we want? Did this work with the schedule in the way that it looked on paper? And all of those sorts of things. So it's right now is really the conversations have happened, the goals, the targets, if you will, the first part of it's almost like with the medical diagnosis, like finding out all the things that won't work, and now to say, okay, now we know what will. So we've kind of had those conversations over the summer with this target teacher group, and now we're headed into those continued monthly times. The principals talk one-on-one to determine if specific to their building what would work with the consultant, and then in that teacher leader group is where we're building that model to then hopefully pilot come January.
I totally appreciate and value doing it right and implementing. I guess my only potential concern is if this is what we would be putting forth to the state to say we want to get off this list, and we haven't really, will we have evidence, will a pilot be enough for that? And again, I appreciate we don't know what they're going to ask for, but
Part of it is with the Dsip and Sessom is what is the intention of the district?
okay.
So it isn't so much the result of the
Okay.
student, it is what is the district done differently
Okay.
to address this problem. So basically their plan is saying, all right, we let you do it the way you say you know to do school best, and we're saying it's not working, so what are you going to do differently? So this shows us we're taking this very novel approach in a very different way. So they want to see the accountabilities of, maybe they could ask for, if they chose to, they could ask for meeting minutes, they could ask for the evidence that we actually were doing what we said we would do differently. So it is the kind of thing, where previously it would have been, show us the scores month to month, show us that, and that's the part that has shifted. It's more of show us what you're doing differently and prove to us that you really are not just repackaging something you've always done.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I appreciate the questions.
That additional detail.
Anything else? All good? Okay, because we are voting on approval of this later in the meeting. Okay, so next we have the approval of minutes from the last meeting, from the special meeting on August 30th, 2022. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So,
Powell Forden, and was that Ms. Hahn?
Yes.
Okay, any questions, concerns, amplifications? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the financial treasurer's report and the awarding of transportation bids. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please? Mr. Hawk, and a second. Second. Mr. Marshall. Okay, so there's 7 different contracts in here. Are there concerns or questions on anything?
The only question I have is where are we at with cost compared to last year?
New York State allows extensions to continue based upon CPI, and CPI this year was a little over 6%, so quite a chunk across the board.
And is this inclusive to all bus runs and needs? Meaning, do we have other insurance costs from the district beyond this, or do we have aids on the bus or additional costs?
There are monitors on the main basic run that kind of ebbs and flows depending on the need on each bus, so that would be on top of these contract costs, yes.
Okay. Any other questions on all 7 contracts? Okay. With that then, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have several appointments here. We have the approval of probationary appointment of John Bardo to a teacher aide position. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
Ms. Gullo, and a second.
Second.
Ms. Powell Forden. Mr. Ziliaks.
Yeah, we're excited to have John on board with us, working in the middle school. You know, we talked about this last meeting, but another trend and theme in our recent hiring, assuming Fredonia graduate, majored in history, which I appreciate. Various management positions, especially with Barnes & Noble, that John has been in the past. So again, another person bringing some experience from outside the field of education, which I think is valuable, and make some different connections with our students. Also experience as a music teacher. He also has been involved with our local town library here in town, and he also attended the Eastman School of Music in Rochester, which is a very well-known and respected institution. So a really nice, varied, interesting background, you know, that John brings to the table. We're excited to have him with us.
Great. Any questions from the board? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Great. Next, we have the appointment of Andrea Stelzer as a licensed occupational therapist. Can I have? I did. I am sorry. Thank you. We have, moving ahead of myself, we have the probationary appointment of Elizabeth Sessom to a teacher aide position. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So,
Mr. Hawk.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Ziliaks.
Yeah, again, a nice addition to our WheeLock team. And again, sometimes our teacher aides are the unsung heroes of the district. Local graduate from Brockton. And again, Elizabeth brings a nice mix of experiences from a child care assistant, a lot of work within the Girl Scouts organization, as well as a lot of involvement with youth cheerleading. So definitely been connected to working with young people in a variety of ways. And we're excited for her to be at WheeLock. Amy, I don't know if there's anything else you want.
We've been in touch. She's looking forward to coming on board, starting hopefully tomorrow. So what?
Great, great.
And I mentioned, Paula, anything you wanted to say about John?
Nope, just a great addition, just a very friendly, he loves kids. He's fit right into one of our 12-on-1 classrooms, and the kids love him already.
Any questions from the board? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Now, we have the appointment of Andrea Salzer as a licensed occupational therapist. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
Ms. Hahn, and a second.
Second.
Is that Ms. Alfortna? Mr. Ziliaks, here we have someone in attendance.
Yeah, Andrea is here, and
Okay.
I warned her that oftentimes we turn over the floor to some of our new employees. Again, Andrea, we're excited to have you on board, and or on board soon, I should say. Attended Nazareth College in Rochester, both for her bachelor's and her master's. Has 4 years of experience as an occupational therapist. Has worked in Buffalo Public Schools as well as Lakeshore Central, just down the road here. Has been involved in summer school programs at Orchard Park. Has also been a life prep mentor for young adults ages 16 to 27 with disabilities. And also has been a mini day camp assistant with Eden Recreation. So we're looking forward to having Andrea be on board and, all that she brings to the table and all the good work she'll do with our students. Andrea, anything you'd like to share with the group?
I just want to say thank you guys for having me here. I'm really excited for this opportunity and to join your team.
And Mr. Aldrich, I just wanted to mention that we are adjusting her start date a bit from what is listed here. So luckily she was able to get out a little bit early from her prior commitment. So the adjusted start date would be 10/13. I just wanted to leave that note before you vote.
Well, let's, Ms. Hahn, I'm assuming that you would allow your motion to adjust.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
And date then adjust also?
Yes, so it follows in the same fashion. So if the start date is the 13th, then that would go through 10/12/26.
And Ms. Alfortna, your
Yes.
second to the
Yes.
motion. You adjust that. Thank you. Just for technicality. Okay, any questions? It's a good add to our district.
Absolutely.
With that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Welcome aboard. Thank you. Next, we have part of the addendum, and we have the approval of personnel to long-term, continuing, temporary, or per diem substitutes. Can I have a motion? And this is item C1, and we're adding Bridget Senfeld into this. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
Mr. Hawk and Ms. Gullo. Okay, so this motion brings in item C1 from the addendum items. Any questions from anybody? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the full-time non-probationary appointment of Bridget Senfeld to the certified extended leave substitute. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Gullo and Ms. Alfortna. Any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the Dsip plan for the 2022-23 school year. Can I have a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
So moved.
Mr. Marshall.
Second.
Ms. Gullo. Any questions on that? Hopefully not, since we just went over that. But in case something's come up in the past minute.
I did have one additional question. question about the action plan. So I know we said that this would be posted to the website. Will the full action plans be posted to the website or made available to the district?
Yep, correct.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next, Mr. Ziliak, your superintendent report.
Yeah, just a couple things to share. This year we are continuing from district office to send out a weekly communication in the form of a s'more. We will continue to do that. We'll try to incorporate some video along with that, sometimes by myself, sometimes by Dr. Wright, and we also look to include some students as we go. And just a couple things I wanted to highlight. Here, again, a very positive opening to school. Thanks to everybody for their hard work and dedication to open in such a smooth and overall positive way. So thanks so much for that. Also wanted to remind people that we have a couple new communication tools in play. One of them is our new website, which we're excited about, but there is also the smartphone app that you can download, and you can select different groups, whether you're Wheelock Elementary, middle, high school, as a parent, to receive information pertaining to your school, or you could be part of all that. And as a district, we're just starting to get into maximizing the use of this, and I think throughout the year, you'll see an increase of communication through this. So again, whether you have an Android or an Apple phone, you can go to your app store, look for Fredonia CSD, and download that app. And again, we're just starting to utilize that. I wanted to thank our student council once again this year for recognizing all those who were lost or impacted by 9/11 with the flags out front of the district. And we certainly, on behalf of the district, wanted to relay that within our buildings, where appropriate, age appropriate, and within our curriculum, we are absolutely continue to have conversations about this day and this event and what it has meant to our country. And I think a lot of that is highlighting how we came together and how we overcame and how we faced adversity and how we moved to a better place as a result of a step back. So a lot of those conversations happen mostly at the high school level, some at the middle school level over the course of this week as well. Also just wanted to mention that Nick Bertrando, our basketball coach, received a sportsmanship award recently over the summer, and we certainly want to recognize some of those special recognitions that come up throughout the year. And we also, in the same regard, I had a chance to attend the recognition and the ceremony for Jen Scher over the weekend. Really a well-done ceremony. A lot of people turned out to once again show their support for her, but we didn't want a board meeting to go by without recognizing her and all that she's done. And in her, I don't know, was that Facebook or Twitter today? She closed out her post with Forever a Hillbilly. So we appreciate that, and you know, I had not met her prior. Certainly an impressive person, and that was a nice connection for me to make with her and her husband. So once again, we brought it up before, but our high school special ed, or our driver's ed program, we had a car donated by Basil Auto Group, and we just wanted to recognize that one last time. And also wanted to highlight that we are having a assembly tomorrow for high school students. A gentleman named Chris Herron, a former NBA player, is coming in to talk about a number of things. I would say, highlighting just a couple, the idea of us all having talents and how do we maximize those talents, ways in which substances can get in the way of those talents, and derail us from some of that focus, and also how do we overcome adversity, and how do we move forward from potential mistakes that we might make. So we're looking forward to that. That's during the school day. He's going to Dunkirk in the afternoon. And then there's an evening event at SUNY Fredonia that anybody is welcome to attend. So the community and beyond is welcome to be there at 7 o'clock tomorrow night to hear him follow up. So just some good things happening around the district I wanted to highlight. Any questions about any of those items? And secondly, I just wanted to highlight, although some of the teachers here will be, man, we just heard this, but on our opening day, we talked about a couple of different things, and I just wanted to run us real quick through some of the information that Dr. Wright and I shared. We really got back to this idea of mission, vision, and core beliefs. What is our purpose? What do we aspire to be? What are those principles that will guide our behavior and our decision making? And this year as a district, we're really focusing on this idea of vision. And we're really asking our employees, and I know I'm skipping through here, Christine, so stay with me a little bit. We're really asking everybody to ponder the question, regardless of your position, regardless of whether you're an adult or a student, how do we be innovative in what we do? How do we be dynamic in our work? And how do we be more global in our thinking? And that's really the backdrop of sort of the umbrella under which we're going to operate this year. And then I think that ties in nicely to those priorities we set in the Dsip and Sessom. And I think there's a lot of room to think about when we think about providing for basic needs, building relationships, social emotional learning, and targeted intervention. How do we be dynamic, innovative, and global in doing those things? So that was a little bit of what we shared on opening day and kind of the energy that we were bringing to the table. Margie, anything else you wanted to touch on real quick? So we'll continue to come back to these statements, and again, I appreciate everybody taking them on and really thinking about what it means to them and their roles and responsibilities. And again, it's also nice that we're thinking about it from the perspective of students and adults attached to the district. So thanks to everybody for that.
Okay. Thank you for bringing up the 9/11 tribute just outside the door here. When I came in, I saw that, and I know most of the teachers don't remember that day. They were too young. But the old guys, no, you're a gal. You're a young gal. It was quite a day. And with three young daughters at that time, it was kind of a scary time. But how do we bring ourselves back to continually remembering that day? And attributing the people who gave their lives, and not just those, but people who also served our nation at that time. Appreciate them all. At this time, the board has reserved time to hear comments from the audience on any topic. Those wishing to address the board are asked to stand, give their name and address, and limit their comments to 5 minutes or less per individual group. Is there anyone who would like to address the board on any topic? So many people. Okay.
We also appreciate our government students being here tonight, and any person on this end of the room can sign your documents at the end of the meeting. Not quite yet.
Okay. So our next regular meeting of the Board of Education is in 2 weeks, September 27th, 2022 at 6 o'clock, right here, in case you were wondering where that was. I'd also mention to the board that there is a Chautauqua County School Board Association meeting. I believe it's on the 28th, school safety. And if anyone would like to go, to contact Ms. Slagle to sign up for that. There will be a state trooper there. The addressing the School Board Association. With that, okay, Steve's not here tonight, so I gotta go back to my old callback. Mr. Hawk.
How we doing, Mr. Aldridge?
Anything, Dad?
Just nice to see all the excitement with the activity around the school, and, you know, on a personal note, my granddaughter just loves school, and STEM is her favorite, you know, part of the day.
Yeah. Ms. Balfour?
No, again, thanks for a great opening. I feel like a very refreshed, renewed vibe, mask-free in schools, and very,
Yes.
very much a sense of normalcy, and I appreciate all the hard work, so thank you.
Ms. Gullo?
Same, good to be back, a little bit feeling like normal. Thanks to everybody
Yes,
for
yes, thank you.
making it through.
Mr. Marshall, how'd the soccer game go?
Very good. It was a bit of a nail biter, but we pulled it out 2-1, so very good. Yeah, I've got lots of feedback from the community about tons of positive things all week long, so it's great that we are there as a district.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Hahn?
Thank you to our teachers. We really appreciate you. It's been fun. I've been going to some sporting events and seeing the way our kids, our students are just so bonded with each other. When one walks up, there are eruptions of cheers. So it's just fun. It's a great community. And I have 2 high school interns, 2 seniors at my office that started this week, and I love them.
Thank you for doing that. It's great to have
really
mentors
fun.
in the community helping our students. Really, thank you very much. Yeah. Ms. Wright, Dr. Wright.
Thank you. Well, as always, definitely just the applause to all the people that you see there, and even the, you know, the many, many people that you don't, just who just made it, like, you know, you said, you made it through, you know, and to have an opening where we were all biting our nails, wondering what the state was going to send down at 4 o'clock on the Friday before school opened, and, you know, once that didn't happen, to know that we didn't have to be in line, we didn't have to have 3 feet between, or 6 feet between, or tape on the hallways, and all of those things was just the most gigantic sigh of relief. And I've, you know, said over and over that for me, even though this is year 2, it's like a whole different year. So, you know, even the festivals in town and everything, I'm like, oh, so it's like rediscovering. But I'm just so grateful for the partnership with everybody, the way people have just jumped on board with the enthusiasm for the new math curriculum program. That's not easy to do. And our, you know, the first day of school, I had a knock on the door. They're like, a delivery came for you, but it's not going to fit in your office. And I'm like, what? And they said it's 6 pallets about yay high. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I thought to myself, dear Lord, what did I press? What button did I order something from, you know? And it was the curriculum. People were just so happy, and things have been in different boxes, and inventorying, and doing, and jumping in, and trying, and it is just so exciting to me, and to me that is living innovation. You know, that risk-taking, that out of your comfort zone, that trying something new, the sharing, the conversations, the collegiality going along with it. So I just cannot applaud enough. So thank all of you, and thank all of you for supporting that initiative.
Mr. Paskey, what's going on in the high school?
Yeah, it's been a great start to the year. Again, just kudos to the staff, the teachers, everyone, the kids, the parents, everybody. It's just been full bore awesomeness to start off the year. I'm just really thankful for the commitment of our teachers. We really embraced that, you know, we're stepping beyond COVID, and we're getting back to some higher expectations. But the commitment to not only have high expectations, but to have consistency and support the kids in reaching those things. I can't say how proud I am of the teachers to start this year. They're just on. It's awesome. The kids are involved. They notice the difference. You know, taking time already with that Fredonia 5 concept. Several teachers have already kind of jumped out in the lead of that before we like even really pushed it too far. You know, they're like, we're talking about stuff with kids, and the kids are like, man, I can't believe this teacher was a little different than they were last year. And it's like they're noticing some stuff, which is pretty cool. So we're excited about that. We've got homecoming coming up the last week of September. September 30th is the big day. We will be having our parade, more information for you guys to come, but you're all invited to march in our parade. After the parade, we will head with our floats down to the football field. We'll have our game. After the game, of course, the bonfire, which you're all invited to. Mr. Newell will be cooking up hot dogs and handing out water. And then the dance will be the following Saturday. And thanks to the village, because we'll be having the police help with the parade again, and the fire department with the bonfire. So we really appreciate our village in helping us out with that.
Great, thank you. Ms. Troutman?
I feel like you stole a lot of the things that I was going to say. You know, we met as a middle school team, and we really talked about, you know, accountability and holding our kids to higher standards than we have, because we feel like we're getting back to normal. And as a collective team, we're really on the same page, and we've had a great start to the school year. And the kids are feeling like they're back to normal, and this has been a great start so far. So we're excited. We're already meeting for clubs, so that's exciting. We weren't able to do that at the beginning of last year, but now we're already meeting in our clubs, and we're starting to decide on events upcoming. So it's been a great school year. Thanks to all the people that worked really hard this summer to get us to this point.
Yeah, a lot of work. Mr. Drawling, sir.
Well, at the elementary level, we hit the ground running as we usually do, so we're really excited, and the kids were literally running into the building, so that's always a good way to start the year. But as a group of teachers, we're ready to set some goals that align with this Dsip, but then I want to really focus on how do we know if what we're doing is working. So at the very easy level, one of our goals is to increase our social media presence. Well, on Facebook and Twitter and our outlets, there's really cool analytics. So every week we're going to post them to our teachers to say, hey, we've made so many posts and it has resulted in whatever percentage of increase. So I think that's a really cool way to measure our effectiveness and our ability to connect with the community. We also want to address the social emotional needs of our kids, and we're doing that through the Second Step program. This will be the first year that we're really going to fully implement that program. And what that looks like for a teacher is you have to deliver 20 lessons. And the lessons are online, and they're delivered and they're handed to you. But how do we know if these lessons are actually working? We have this social emotional screener called Panorama that we run at the beginning of the year and the end of the year. And we're going to try and have, new this year, behavioral and social emotional data meetings to kind of look at that evidence and say, hey, are these second step lessons working? And if they are, we're going to continue it, and if not, we're going to make some changes along the way. So just like in the middle school, the accountability piece, we're going to try and align with them as well. And then another thing that we're also going to do is, like Dr. Ziliak said, provide the basic needs that kids need to learn. I know I can't function until I get my breakfast. It's the same thing with the kids. So what we're going to do is we have some partnerships. We partner with Feed More Western New York, and they provide bagged lunches once a week that kids can take home over the weekend. I think we reached 50 families last year on a weekly basis in a pilot program, and our goal is to at least double or triple that reach. So that's something that we can measure. Are we providing more meals to kids? And then lastly, I was having to hear Mr. Hawk say that his granddaughter liked the STEM class, because that's something that as a former science teacher, I'm personally connected to the STEM program, and it's a new program. We partnered with a company called WazEd, and they're really a dynamic program that will align our STEM program for students in grades K through 8, and there's a continuum of learning. So for example, one of the things that they're going to be learning about, which is kind of cool, is drones. They'll learn the basics in my level, and then when they get to the middle school, they'll be doing the outside full-on piloting. So we've got a lot to come, but I'd like to touch back throughout the course of this year to talk about the accountability piece and how we know if what we're doing is working.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Ms. Farrell?
Hi, I'm not behind the pole and...
No.
I know.
We can see you. That's good.
It's good. I don't have like a lot of specifics, but it's September, it's always like a lot of big feelings, right? Like summer's over, it's kind of sad, but we're excited to start school. But I guess the thing that strikes me the most is just the pure amazement of watching sort of, I guess, a well-oiled machine, kind of come together and get school started. We're 6 days in, and personally in special ed, we've onboarded a lot of new students and we've solved a lot of problems already, and I feel like in 6 days, it feels like it's been 6 weeks because it's just been busy. You know, once the dust settles, there's just a lot of planning and problem solving, and it's exciting to do that again. So that's what I've got.
Great, great. Keep it up. Ms. Piper?
I have to give kudos to Kristen, because I think I've been on the phone with her like every hour. So, you know, I like to ache in the start of the year in pre-K and K is the sorting hat. And we're kind of like Hogwarts, because we have many kids come into school that have never been to school before, so we need to sort of figure them out. So we are doing that sorting and placement, and what we're noticing is the big need for social, emotional, behavioral items for our kids, because they are really lacking. We are really seeing the impact of COVID on our kids, hence my phone calls to Kristen. We're getting many students who have never been in school before, never had play dates, never been around their peers, and don't know how to. And so, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but kudos to the teachers, because you can see I have my Converse on, we've been running. We have been running, and in a good way. They have smiles on their faces, the positive energy. When I think some of us want to cry, they're just smiling and the kids are feeling loved. The feedback I'm getting from parents are, you know, we've heard that we left a special place, now we're seeing it, because they are hearing things that are hard to hear as a parent. And so the fact that they're hearing it with kindness and nurturing and love, and we're in this together, we'll problem solve, goes back to the team, because they're really incredible. So we're sorted. We're sorted. So we love our slow roll, we like to call it, where we have parents come in and do visitation with the teachers, so the parents can feel comfortable and safe, and know that their babies are in a place that they'll be taken care of. So we've done that with pre-K last week. They started the staggered start with kindergarten and pre-K this week. But again, students can come in slowly, have a few of them at a time, or again, they feel safe, which is really the common denominator. They need to feel safe, and they need to know that they'll be nurtured and loved, and they are. We are excited that we have STEM coming now to WELAC. They started this week, so those classes started for kindergarten. They're super excited about that. And I also am super excited that Erin Jafrida is teaching pre-K specials. We've decided that really we're not going to separate that out as to art, music, library, but really it's all combined. It's play-based, and Erin is a master. So thank you to Erin already for giving you guys some tonight, when we come back tomorrow, PTO is working on Chalk the Walk. So I'm excited to come to school. They were going to do it over the weekend, but the rain didn't allow that to happen. So as the kids come into WELAC tomorrow, they'll have lots of nice greetings from the PTO to encourage them during the day.
Great. So are you going to get your chalk out?
No, I'm not much of an artist, so.
You're no.
Very segmented.
You and I are alike in that regard.
Just a couple quick things. We're about halfway through the field work for our audit this year. We'll be back in again tomorrow. And also our school tax collection period has begun, penalty-free through October 7th. And I'm amazed how many people started calling when the bills were just a tad later than normal. So thank you to taxpayers for that.
Ms. Slagle.
I just wanted to thank our administrative team for embracing our new website tools. So ThrillShare is the kind of back end of what we do, and through that they are able to make social posts and things like that. So the things you see on the website, again, that can be tailored specifically to their buildings, they're already jumping in and doing that. So they're putting posts out there that are specific to their buildings. And this is all stuff that our families can access through the app. So I appreciate that they have all kind of jumped right in to do that and increase that presence, and also worked with me through some things that we need, some problem solving we needed to do with different things, and I appreciate your patience, and thanks so much.
Thank you. So the board anticipates the need to enter into executive session to discuss matters pertaining to collective bargaining negotiations and the evaluation of the superintendent. We would go into executive session, come out, and then immediately end the meeting. So in essence, the public portion of the meeting is over with, but I need a motion to enter into executive session, please. Ms. Gullo and yes, Ms. Powell-Fort now. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, we are in executive session at 7:17. Thank you, everyone.